Please be advised, the following presentation is not intended for minors.
So yeah, we are continuing on with our Henchman Story playthrough that we started last week. To remind people where we left off, I decided to stop at like at a point that actually branches the story off quite a bit, and actually let the like the YouTube comments on the the YouTube upload for this, the Twitch stream, and the Discord, decide where we actually go next. So it was either take Madam Scorpion's dangerous night gig, or we piss her off and go to game night. Game night was winning for the longest time, but side gig managed to get it right at the end. So we're going with the side gig. She looks like she can hack into my systems. Shush. Shush, yeah.
Don't lie.
See, after fumbling with a few pouches, I remember which one holds my phone. We exchange contact information. Dave insists on doing so as well, which doesn't seem entirely appropriate, but that's Dave. That might be a good biography title for him. Not entirely appropriate. Maybe the whole Lord Bedlam operation as a whole. Gotta hang on to that one. As I finish buckling up my uniform, I grab my phone from where I left it on my bed. Frowning, I open up the Henchcam app, navigate to the gig Madam Scorpion had mentioned, and stare. This is it. I've given myself all day to think. What should I do? Unwind with some spells and swords at game night, or take the Henchcan gig and go earn some extra money? We are going to take the side gig, because that's what won. The further I walk, the fewer people I see. There's little in this direction besides the main entrance. So all I expect to find are a few unlucky souls that drew guard duty tonight, like that woman up ahead. Already slacking off by the looks of it, just leaning against the wall like she's waiting for someone. Wait.
Kate? What are you doing here?
What's it look like? Waiting for you. I saw you took that gig, and what do you know? My schedule's suddenly free.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So yeah, she's gonna be joining us for the side gig, yay!
I told you not to sweat it.
We got a date, boys, let's go!
Besides, but really, it's no big deal. You still rank below the kid that ditched me at my freshman semi-formal on the list of guys who left me hanging.
Oof.
What did you do to him?
Let's just say that was when I took apart my first engine. Now, come on. We can't be late for dust-off.
I scratch my chin as I ponder her explanation, or rather, the lack thereof. Just a hunch, huh? However, before I can ask what she meant by that, I find myself interrupted.
Hold it right there, you two. Let's see some ID.
Hey,
Let's go.
look, a rando. Rando has a name. I stop and look up to find a familiar scowl peering at me from behind the window of a security checkpoint. James, the gate supervisor. Must have been lost in thought. Looks like we've reached the main entrance already.
Oh, hey, James. We were just headed out for a bit. Mind opening the gate for us?
Oh, just like that, huh? I'm just supposed to open the gate for you and you waltz on through?
Is that not how gates work? Should we do a different kind of dance when we go through or something?
One who
Small
works for
power
Lord
syndrome,
Bedlam
most
from
evil of
coming
all
or
mental
going,
afflictions, yeah.
We've been over.
Grumbling the entire way, James trudges over to the gate controls and pulls the lever, letting the gates open with a groan. See, after another hike through a series of tunnels, we finally emerge into the wilderness, where we're greeted with the painfully bright light of the late afternoon sun. Glad we got off of work early today. I hate coming out here at night. The return trip is gonna suck. I can feel the poison ivy in my uniform already.
This way. I know the spot they're using.
It's not long before we reach our destination. Small clearing with a large mossy stump in the middle, and a small babbling creek just before the far tree lane. No one else appears to be here, so I saunter up to the stump and take a seat. Check my phone. A full minute ahead of schedule. Nothing to worry about. So why does Kate look so tense?
Don't worry, James won't lock us out. He talks a big game, but that's all it is.
No, it's not that.
I frown confused. It's not dark yet, and no one ever comes in these woods except Bedlam's henchmen, so I'm not sure why she'd be nervous. Most dangerous thing you'd find out here is a skunk, or maybe a...
Cutting it a little close, aren't we?
I jump and whirl around at the source of the noise just in time to see Madam Scorpion step out from the shadows, like a lioness emerging from the undergrowth. When she stalks forward, she barely makes a sound and her footing is never in doubt, despite the uneven grounding. Somewhere in the depths of my primal lizard brain, my fight or flight reflex is triggered and I hear a voice scream at me to run. Instead, I cough to clear out the lump in my throat and offer a sloppy salute.
Close only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and orbital doomsday lasers, man.
You at least
I
tried.
wouldn't know for sure since we never had
You at least
either
tried,
of those last
Bruno.
two, but it seems like a safe bet.
What are we gonna do in the forest, hench bro? Pomp. Another joke that could get me fired. Scorpion chuckles to herself and shakes her head at a joke that we're not privy to before her eyes flash to Kate.
I'm surprised to see that you've brought company, Stanley. I don't recall my invitation including a +1.
Kate offers a crisp salute without a flinch.
Ma'am, sorry if I'm intruding. I just saw the gig on the app and
I am speaking to Stanley. If I require your input, I will request it.
She doesn't like Kate. Her eyes linger on Kate's still present name tag.
Kate? Is that understood?
Oh, she's that kind. Yes, she's that kind. This time Kate stays silent, merely nodding in understanding. Scorpion appraises her for a moment more before turning her gaze to me. Hastily, I rise from my seat and offer a decidedly less crisp salute.
Now, Stanley, explain yourself.
Regret
Why
my
is she
vote
here with you?
immediately. Do I pull a red versus blue on her? It's like, yo, ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it? Do it? Red versus blue? Alright, let's go.
Why are any of us here? Was it predestined, or just some great cosmic fluke? Are we part of a grand design, or cold, uncaring math? If you put a cat in a box...
Enough, Stanley. Tell me, are you so incessantly glib by choice, or is it some deep-seated Pavlovian response?
Well, now you're getting
She
into
doesn't
human
like me
nature,
now.
and while it might seem similar to the subject of free will, let me tell you, it's a whole different ballgame.
Truly, we're all wanderers in this great cosmic play.
I suppose I have only myself to blame for that one.
Hey, remember how we were kind of on her good side and then we, like, just piss her off right here and ruin all of that? With that, I keep my lips sealed and Scorpion turns her attention back to Kate.
I hope you have a better answer than that for me.
I just saw it on the app and decided to sign up last minute, ma'am. Should there have been a warning screen or something?
No, but this job was supposed to have been marked as exclusive. Only certain users should have been able to see it. So, Kate, are you certain that you signed up for this job in particular?
Yes, ma'am. Here, I'll pull it up.
Kate unlocks her phone and holds it out to Scorpion, who takes it without hesitation. After examining the screen, the supervillain frowns and hands the phone back to Kate.
Odd. Either it's a bug, or someone on our live team needs to remember just who they're working for. You shouldn't have been able to see that.
I've only met each other count on this grand voyage through the sea of the universe, sailors in the same boat.
You're one of ours.
This is going to be a whole
Correct.
thing, just like last
How
stream
long
was
have
all
you been
about
with the
witch burning,
program?
isn't it? Our eyes turn to the sky, and soon enough, a jet black helicopter soars into view, flying as low as it can without touching the treetops below. It slows and comes to a halt above the clearing. I step back to give it room, but there's no need, as a rope ladder soon falls down from the side of the vehicle. Nervously, I look up at the helicopter, measuring the distance in my head. Physical activity already? This job really is going to be dangerous.
Over half a minute late.
Reluctantly, I walk up to the ladder, take a breath, and begin to climb. Fortunately, aside from one moment near the top where I accidentally looked down, it actually wasn't that bad. Soon enough, I'm seated inside the helicopter with a dozen other henchmen in nearly as many different uniforms. Kate soon follows, and Madame Scorpion literally leaps up from the ladder afterwards. While it's nothing next to going one-on-one with Miss Dynamo, the move was so effortless that it makes me wonder about Scorpion's powers. She clearly has some, but do they go beyond her obvious physical abilities? If she was really the top assassin in a world filled with supervillains, surely there's more to it than that, right? Maybe this job is where we'll find out. Though if it is, that probably means that we're in serious danger. She plays things so close to the vest that I can't imagine her revealing her full arsenal unless she has to. So on second thought, maybe some mysteries aren't meant to be solved.
All accounted for.
Kate and I hurry to strap in as the pilot complies with Madame Scorpion's order. For her part, the supervillain merely grabs a handhold and plants her feet, unperturbed by the swaying of the helicopter. As we ride towards our destination, the sun starts to slip beneath the horizon. The city fades into view. Not long after that, a helicopter sets down in a small field near the city limits and we pile into a van. So this job, right? What's the dental plan look like? We do get medical benefits from, our base stuff from Lord Bedlam. This is just like an extra thing that we do for, like, more money. It was the main plot that was established in the previous stream. Basically, we're working for Uber for supervillains. The villain got, like, really beat up and lost a lot of minions on the previous job. I need to hire more really quickly. Well, that's what the Henchman app is for, so that's essentially what we're doing. See, by the time we pile out of the van and into the abandoned parking lot that's apparently our destination, the last shreds of dusk are gone and the night is lit only by the moon and the city's bright neon lights.
And here we are. Now, I know this might be a foreign
Why's my nose so
concept to
itchy?
some
Ah.
of you, but while we're exposed, let's try to keep a low profile, shall we? That means minimal chatter, understood?
She explicitly holds her gaze on me for a moment while she says that last part, and Kate, who's standing next to me, lightly elbows me in the side.
What?
I think you know.
Now then, all surveillance cameras along our designated route have been disabled, so don't stray from it. We go up the fire escape there, directly west along the rooftops, and enter the 4th building via roof access. Well, get moving.
The other henchmen scramble towards the fire escape like a frantic conga line of brightly colored candies. Kate and I start to follow at a less panicked pace. However, I see that Madame Scorpion has started walking in another direction entirely. Deceptive as always, she doesn't fail to notice my stare and turns to face me, eyebrow raised with imperious indignation.
Yes, Stanley? Do you have a question?
You said you turned off the cameras. How did you do that exactly?
An insightful query. Perhaps too insightful for your own good, darling. Do you really think someone of my stature wouldn't know how to deal with a few cameras?
You think they would perhaps not dress in such bright clothes for a sneak job? You can't really, pick your uniform when you're a henchman, so...
I guess not, but...
I trail off, not daring to finish that thought, pointing out that she didn't answer my question is more likely to earn her ire than an answer. Luckily, Kate takes my hesitation as an opportunity to step in.
We're just impressed. That's all, ma'am. You're in a tight ship.
Scorpion doesn't look the least bit flattered as she turns her critical eye on the shorter woman, looking her up and down.
I do indeed. And that means you'd better stop stalling and get up that fire escape. Don't you agree?
Yeah, when you're undermanned and out of luck, who do you call? Hench Kanji man, no job too big, too small. You'd be surprised how spot on that is to the actual slogan. See, Kate gives me a light rap on the shoulder and a reassuring smile, and I mouth a thank you in return. Not everyone would risk Scorpion's wrath to help me out like that. Even though we pace ourselves, to climb up the fire escape is long, and I find myself a little winded by the time we reach the top. Damn, we're not even to the hard part, and there's already been so much work. Luckily, the henchmen ahead of us didn't do as good a job at pacing themselves, so catching up is easy. Not that Kate would have trouble going a little faster. She barely seems warmed up after that.
Hey, slow down. We're not in a rush.
Glad I'm in the developer's brain space, yeah. As we catch up to the others, we casually slip past the guys taking up the rear and meld with the middle of the pack. I glance down at Kate and offer a thumbs up, which he returns along with an uneasy smile. Our patchwork team of mercenary henchmen is quite the odd sight, a mob of multicolored goons hopping along the rooftops. But with the cameras gone and the adjacent buildings either too short or abandoned, there's no one to appreciate the show. No one in the gaggle of henchmen seems to be particularly enthusiastic about it either. None of us know each other. Hell, I don't even recognize most of these uniforms. And everyone took Scorpion's line about minimizing chatter to heart. It's a weird vibe. We're technically a team, but not really. Eventually, we reach the target rooftop. The guys in front are both wearing green and gold uniforms, and they're either young or cocky because they walk right up to the roof access door and pull it open. I let out a sigh of relief. So far, so good. Still, as our pointmen start down the stairwell, Kate and I make sure to maintain a safe distance. Something's waiting for us down there. I just have that feeling. So it reminds me of the Batman clip of the goon walking into a room pretending to not notice the Dark Knight. Yeah.
Somebody in here?
Something wrong?
Nope.
The stairwell from the roof is short, only meant to connect it to the roof, to the top level. It's not long before our little band of misfit henchmen enters the facility proper. Someone lets out a low whistle as our green-clad point men open the door, and while he was quickly shushed, I have to agree with the sentiment. What awaits us is impressive. Not all that tech-savvy, but my best guess is that it's some kind of server room. Rows and rows of uniform machines hum quietly in the darkness, glowing from the light of their blinking LEDs.
A server farm. That makes sense. You guys were on a data heist for your last operation too, right?
Yeah, we were. You figure that's what we're after here, too?
It would fit. Scorpion doesn't do things randomly.
I nod in agreement. Before we can discuss anything further, our vanguard is waving for us to move, and the whole group starts creeping slowly forward. The rows make it a tight squeeze for even two people to stand shoulder to shoulder. It's like a futuristic library in here. I glance at Kate and find her looking back at me, jaw set. I nod, equally tense. This would be a bad spot to run into the trouble I'm expecting. Which of course means...
Guys, flashlight, 10 o'clock. Guys!
I turn my head and immediately see it, fading and growing brighter as it passes between the aisles. Unfortunately, the green and gold duo in front doesn't. Not until they step out into the next aisle and right into its path. Immediately, the guard lets out a shout, and while the green henchmen reach for their weapons, the guard is faster on the draw. A sharp electric crackle cuts through the air, and a heartbeat later, both the henchmen fall to the floor, twitching violently as sparks run across their uniforms. Already the other henchmen are scrambling every which way, any sense of discipline shattering almost immediately. This is bound to go sideways real fast. Kate rushes to grab at the nearest of our would-be teammates, trying to keep them from scattering.
Hey, get back here! We need to stay organized!
It causes some of them to hesitate, but not for long. If I help, maybe we could convince everyone to stick together and find a way out of this. On the other hand, we just let them run around like a bunch of idiots they could make for a nice distraction. That's why we didn't take the lead after all. Whatever I do, though, need to decide quickly. Alright, team. Use them as a distraction or organize them? The weak should fear the strong. Alright, use them as a distraction it is, apparently. I reach out and lightly grab Kate's shoulder. Distracted, she loses her own grip on the henchman she was trying to wrangle.
It's too late. They've lost it. This is why we stayed in the middle of the group, remember?
But if they don't get it together, this whole thing is done for.
No, they're done for. This whole thing keeps going with or without them. You think Scorpion's gonna bat an eye when she sees that half these guys are missing?
No, she definitely won't.
Exactly. So we might as well take advantage of the distraction to make sure that we're in the half that makes it.
Alright, fine. I guess we're playing this cutthroat style. So we have our distraction. What do you want to do with it?
Okay, offensive or sneak out? Balls the wall, go on the offensive it is. Kate points to a pair of guards who just entered the room and are running towards the fray.
Those two. They've got tunnel vision, and cutting the enemy off from reinforcements is critical in the situation.
I raise an eyebrow. She sure switched to tactical mode on a dime. Seems out of character for Kate, but then how well do I know her?
Okay, you got it, General Patton. I'll cut them off and you flank them. Sound good?
Sounds good.
With the final nod of confirmation, I pull out my baton and move to intercept the unsuspecting guards before they can join the fight. Baton in hand, I jog forward through the endless rows of servers, lights whizzing through the corner of my vision in a blur, though I make sure to conserve my energy. And it's a good thing I do, because as I round the corner, I come face to face with a pair of guards. Luckily, the chaos from the other henchmen running around like headless chickens distracts the father off of the pair, and he leaves to try and chase them down. As he runs out of view, I see a short purple blur chase after him. Damn, Kate can really move. Similar scene plays out with the other guards in the distance. It's like one of those cartoon chase scenes where people keep running in and out of doors in a single hallway, but with way more people and way less dignity. Nice Scooby-Doo reference. See, that just leaves me with one guard to deal with. Okay, I can handle one.
All right. You can either walk away or
charge at me like a maniac, apparently. I manage to give him a good whack on the shoulder as he rushes me, but his other hand still manages to reach out and grab a fistful of my uniform. The before I can react, we're both colliding with a rack of servers and he's clawing at my face.
What the hell, dude? We both look so stupid!
I punctuate each word with a swing of my baton, smacking the guard on the back. Jesus, what kind of security firm did this place hire? The bludgeoning loosens his grip and I manage to push him off of me. Quickly, I step back to gain some distance.
Okay, you asked for it.
General patent pending. Boo! Boo, Damo, boo. I raise my baton and prepare to charge, but pause when I see movement out of the corner of my eye. Is someone hopping on top of the server racks like a ninja? No, not just someone. It's Kate. In 2 strides, she leaps onto the adjacent rows of servers, and with a third, she sends the sole of her foot careening towards a guard's chest with a flying kick. The wind is immediately knocked out of my assailant, and he stumbles backwards until he literally bounces off of another server. By then, Kate has landed and is there to not only catch him before he collides with the floor, but immediately turn that into an armbar.
I was teeing that one up for you.
I could tell.
With some effort, Kate pulls the zip tie out from her belt and secures the guard's wrist to one of the server racks. Her foe subdued, she twirls out of the armbar, swipes the man's taser, and fires it just past my shoulder. I whirl around to find a second guard already falling to the ground, convulsing from his co-worker's own weapon.
That one was all me, though.
I turn back to offer a snide remark, only to find a third guard running towards Kate from behind. Lacking any kind of projectile, I run forward and dive into a baseball slide, swinging my baton at the man's shin. It connects and he trips forward, yelping in pain. Meanwhile, I scramble back to my feet, fumbling with my baton. Where the hell was that shock switch? Oh, there it is. A jolt of electricity surges from the end of the baton, and a moment later the guard lies unconscious.
And that was all me, so we're totally even. As long as we're not counting style points.
Oh, we definitely are. Now come on, let's wrap this up.
Thanks to the distraction provided by the other henchmen and Kate's secret ninja skills, that doesn't take too long. There aren't many of our merry band left afterwards, but we're in the clear. I feel my phone buzz. Pulling it out from my belt reveals that it's a notification from the Henchman app. And judging by the reaction of those around me, we all got it.
North stairwell, down 3 floors.
I look at Kate, she shrugs. Better do what it says. Finding the way down doesn't take long, but we double and triple check our corners before entering. Getting caught in a cramped stairwell would be bad news, considering our losses already. Glad our man is so sturdy. He's surprisingly sturdy for just a random dude. He has been punched by, like, this game's equivalent of Superman, which is just massive tomboy. Which is like, yeah, I'll take it. Our caution slows our pace to a crawl, but fortunately it's an uneventful descent. Soon enough, we open the stairwell door to find
More servers. Is this whole building filled with them?
Don't doubt it. Classic Madam Scorpion target. But what's this place doing in the middle of the city? The only places with this much sensitive data that I know of are intentionally isolated.
Wait, you've been to one of these places before?
Yeah, I didn't hear no bell. Before Kate can answer, a metal clanging sound echoes across the room. We turn to find a severed metal limb roll to a stop a dozen meters away.
Don't be frightened. It can't hurt you.
With a swagger that your garden variety egomaniac could only dream of, Scorpion saunters into view, holding her energy sword in one hand and what appears to be a decapitated robot head in the other. No, not the robot! A black duffel bag is slung over her shoulder, though she moves like it weighs nothing at all. Hey, there we go. Damo knows my buttons. he knows my buttons. Where is it?
Hello, nurse.
Jealous of that Scorpion, to be quite honest. Yeah. Out of a sense of morbid curiosity, I dare to peer around the corner, even brace for a scene of carnage. The sight is disturbing. A pile of mangled robot parts flows across several of the aisles. There we go. Of course, I know your buttons have been watching you for 4 years. True. Twisted metal limbs and weapon barrels protrude from the heap, and oil pools like blood across the tiles. Scorpion's done more than destroy them. She's diced them to bits.
But we can't just have them lying around like that, can we? It's unsightly. So, Stanley, darling, you're coming with me, but the rest of you,
She tosses the duffel bag to the ground.
your next task is in there.
The other henchmen just stare at the bag nervously. All but Kate, anyway, who's looking at me.
Hey, be careful.
We gotta be nice. Yeah, you too. Kate smiles and wraps her knuckles against my shoulder. With that, my peer steps forward, offering Scorpion a salute before kneeling down and opening the bag, revealing cleaning supplies? I guess she wants to literally scrub the place of evidence. Glad I'm getting out of that. With an apologetic shrug, I rush to catch up with the supervillain's long, graceful strides.
Thanks for choosing me, ma'am. For, whatever this is.
Like this man learning
I
to not
appreciate
leave
it.
important decisions to chat. I like chat interaction with the game, alright? But that one was very clearly, oh, let's be nice to Kate. Because everyone loves Kate. Kate is great. Yeah, Kate isn't going to murder us, exactly.
Oh, she
Mommy?
did.
Sorry. Mommy? Sorry.
I'll be sure to look up her profile.
This is just me. Is it getting hot in here? Dude, I know you're from Australia like me, so, you know, it's just a normal day.
Persistent about that, aren't you?
It's just a normal day here. Existential speech didn't completely turn her off, lads. Yeah, let's go! Anyway, she's totally using the app to control/watch every henchman in the app in order to get a leg up on the competition. Maybe, maybe not.
And those
In
that
all
didn't
honesty,
make it
I
past
can't
the
remember.
upper
It's been
floor
like a year and a
played their
half
part
since I
as
played
well.
this for
Drawing
the
guy.
review. I cough again, but it does nothing to get rid of the heat I feel on my cheeks. He's blushing. By now, we've passed the last row of servers and reached the very edge of the room. A thick metal security door stands before us, controlled by a nearby keypad.
Hold this for me, darling.
Without bothering for confirmation, Scorpion shoves the hilt of her beam saber into my hands. Though I fumble it for a second, I quickly gain control and immediately lock it into a two-handed death grip. Meanwhile, the supervillain puts her free hand on the keypad and closes her eyes. Out of the corner of my eye, I see her grip tighten on the robot head, causing the metal to squeal in protest. Soon enough, the keypad turns green and I hear the sound of the door's locks disengage. How did she do that? I think back to my question about how she saw what happened on the top floor. There's definitely a connection there, but what is it? Or is this yet another juicy red herring? I wouldn't put it past her. Screwing with people seems to be her favorite pastime. I'm clearly in her crosshairs. In fact, when her eyes open and turn in my direction, that's exactly what they look like. Crosshairs.
Now, Stanley.
Defining characteristic of Scorpion's big, meaty claws. She removes her hand from the security panel and slowly reaches towards me, smiling in a way that is equal parts alluring and foreboding. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but find it unnerving. With a self-satisfied hum, she plucks the hilt from her weapon from my hands.
Would you kindly step through that door?
Yes, no, or I like the view better out here. Do we charge in, we say no, or do we do what Stanley does best and just glib? View is great, it's quite aesthetic, really. Very pleasant day, temperature is nice. You know what? Just because, like, nothing that, Bruno has voted for has ever actually gotten anything. Let's do it. Screw it. Whatever's behind that door could kill me, so I might as well go out with no regrets.
Nah, I like the view better out here.
Oh? I can only assume that you're speaking about the servers. Or perhaps you've spotted your own reflection somewhere.
Can't say that I have, though I am pretty damn handsome.
Let's not get carried away.
Well, if you don't think I'm handsome, what is it you like about me? It must be something. First, you invite me to this after-hours
Yeah, I wonder
side
what this
hustle,
odd
then you
timeout
invite
button
me over
does.
here all alone.
Careful, Stanley.
With a casual grace, Scorpion stalks even closer, something primal burning behind her golden eyes. When she smiles, I swear I can see fangs.
Lest you forget your place. I brought you here as a professional.
And if I don't want to be a professional?
Oh? What do you want?
Scorpion laughs and moves closer still. I can see my reflection in her eyes. I feel her breath tickle my nose.
But that's a question for another time. Think on it.
So did we gain from this, or...?
If you survive.
Alright, never mind. Suddenly, caught up in a blur of motion, the door swings open violently and I feel someone grab my arm and send me hurtling towards it before I have time to react. Even though I know that it must have been Madame Scorpion who did it, she moves so fast that I can't actually see her do it. One moment I'm staring right at her, and the next all I see are shadows. Seriously, that's all I see. Even as I stumble to a stop inside the room, I have trouble finding my bearings. Why is it so dark in here? I start to fumble for my flashlight, but before I can, I hear a machine whir and metal groan. It's a pair of glowing red eyes come to life right in front of me. Uh-oh. Soon the eyes are joined by a veritable constellation of LEDs, and from the dim foreboding light, I can make out the massive frame of yet another robot, slowly rising to its feet. All 4 of them. Yeah, abort. 4 feet? Why did it need 4 feet? Why does it need to be like 3 meters tall? Why does it need all those guns? Oh, right. The guns.
Shit!
I scramble to the side, desperately searching for cover. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see the robot's weapons tracking me. I'm not going to move fast enough. Someone else does.
Thank you, Stanley.
In a blur of black and red, Madame Scorpion streaks into view before the deadly machine can open fire. While it quickly turns to face this clearly more imminent threat, by then, it's far too late. Jeez, that's loud! The Scorpion's blade moves so fast that it looks like a continuous streak of light, painting a crisscrossing pattern of crimson across the machine's hulking form until it is practically covered in glowing crosshatches. As the pattern fades, the quadrupedal titan groans and then, all at once, collapses into a heap of minced plating and shattered circuitry. There isn't a limb or weapon barrel left intact. As the robot's bolts and shredded bits of armored plating roll around the floor, Madame Scorpion steps out from the darkness, tinkering with a knob on her weapon's hilt. Haha, game said knob.
The frequency was off a little. Those cuts should have been much cleaner.
With a flourish, she deactivates the energy blade and returns the hilt to her hip. Only then does she acknowledge me with a smile that seems even more dangerous than usual now that it's obscured in shadow.
But you were an excellent distraction, Stanley. Even if you were unwilling.
Thanks? But why did you even need one?
They kept this unit from connecting with the main network to mask its presence. Not the first time I've seen that trick, so I wanted to be sure that I wasn't walking into anything.
So they had a super secret robot just sitting in here, specifically to guard this room. What exactly is hidden in this data that you're after?
Hidden? Why, nothing at all. Just mundane details gathered from insignificant individuals.
Seriously? All this for some mundane details?
Individually mundane, but together, as precious as gold. You'll understand soon enough. But for now...
The sound of approaching footsteps interrupts Scorpion's order, and by the time I turn to find the source, Kate is standing in the doorway, breathing hard.
Ma'am, we heard a commotion from over here. Do you need any assistance?
For a second, it looks like she's about to ask a follow-up question, but that fades as soon as her head turns in my direction. At least someone here is concerned about my well-being.
Not urgently, so no. Is the cleanup complete?
I'm quite intimidated,
Just
sure.
about. Yeah, they should have it wrapped up momentarily. It was a struggle with the few hands we have remaining, but we got it done.
Very well. Then help Stanley with this last one. Don't leave a trace behind.
Yes, ma'am.
As Kate rushes over to help, Scorpion walks deeper into the room, starting to disappear into the darkness. After a few steps, she gives pause and leers at me over her shoulder, her face half covered in shadow.
Though I cut it short, I enjoyed our conversation, Stanley. I'd be open to continuing it some other time.
Sure?
I dare say I'd even desire it.
Chat, she likes us. Chat, she likes us. We're in. I swallow the lump that's formed in my throat and nod. At that, Scorpion takes her leave, slipping into the darkness with silent steps. By now, Kate's reached my side along with Scorpion's duffel bag and cleaning supplies.
You alright? What happened?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I want to
Not
play
used as bait,
SNS.
but as
Honestly,
you can
I'm
see-
surprised. Like, as someone who is a DM, I'm surprised you didn't vote for the game night. Because I know for a fact you would have loved that scene.
No big deal.
Wanted to see action. Hey, we got some action
Really?
out of this.
After what deal?
But, like, personally, the SNS game is, like, my favorite scene in the entire game.
Oh, come on.
It's
Picking out
so
some
good.
underpaid
I
night
don't-
shift
I don't
muscle
wanna
isn't
spoil
much of
it
a feat. I know a
because
few moves. That's
I
it.
want people to play this for themselves. It is a fantastic game. A few minutes later, I'm hurtling through the air, clinging to a zipline for dear life. Why a zipline? I asked the same thing. Scorpion said it was yet another red herring, but I think she just wanted to see if I'd scream. Well, too bad for her. I managed to avoid any and all squeals, yelps, and shrieks as I careened towards a parking lot, although my landing is hardly dignified. The momentum from the zipline carries me forward after I touch down, and I flail wildly before gracefully falling to the asphalt.
Did you have to push me again?
I turn to find the supervillain standing over me, having stuck her own landing without flinching. Not surprising. She could have probably jumped out the window and landed unscathed, honestly.
As if you don't enjoy it.
Right.
I start to scrape myself off the ground, but when I reach my knees, I find a purple glove held out in my direction.
And here I thought you had the agility of a panther.
2 panthers. They're heavy animals, okay?
Sure. Clearly, that zip line required a rating of 3 panthers or higher.
Taunts aside, I'm grateful for the help and happily take Kate's extended hand. Once I'm back on my feet, I dust myself off and start heading for the van. One by one, Scorpion and the remaining henchmen pile into the back of the vehicle. It's a lot less crowded this time, and some take advantage of the empty seats by stretching out. Scorpion uses one as a pedestal for the severed robot head she acquired earlier, possibly because she still needs it for something, but more probably because she's a bloodthirsty sadist. Just before we close the doors, a shout echoes out from across the parking lot. It's one of the green-clad henchmen who had taken point. Apparently, the taser wore off.
Holy shit, I think he can actually make it.
He could have 30 seconds ago, but not now. And you should be glad that's the case. That's one less person who gets a share of the completion fee. I'd suggest closing the door, Stanley.
I look out towards the stranded henchman desperately waving at us as he drunkenly stumbles closer. I imagine I looked just like that when I was fleeing Miss Dynamo on Wednesday. But this is Scorpion's show, plus she's right about the money. So, do we let the dude in and lose a bunch of money, or do we just close the door? do we be a dick and close the door on him? I offer Kate an apologetic wince and then reach for the door handle. It slams closed easily. But it's a double door, so that leaves it half open with a matching door on Kate's side of the van. She's not budging, so I scramble over.
Wait, look, he's close.
I look out the remaining door, and Kate's right. He's not far. I only have to wait another 20 seconds or so. But the all-too-familiar sound of a human-shaped meteor falling to the earth puts an end to my hesitation, and I slam the door shut.
Thank you, Stanley. Driver, let's be off.
The van roars to life, screeching out of the parking lot as fast as it can. I can hear the green henchman yelling at us in the distance. Soon enough, it's accompanied by the sound of the aforementioned meteor finally crashing to the earth.
Scorpion!
Yeah, of course
Come
it's
out!
her.
You can't hide from me forever.
You know, I never had to deal with a pissed-off Miss Dynamo until I met you, ma'am. I mean, she still had zero problem kicking my ass, but she was a lot friendlier about it.
A civil relationship with one's mortal enemies has little value, in my opinion. I prefer her this way. She makes mistakes when she's angry. And when I at last put an end to our little game, I want it to be raw. That moment when she
Phrasing?
realizes she's been raging and roaring against the inevitable. That will be something I can truly relish.
Put an end to your game? Do you mean...
Scorpion's head tilts curiously as her eyes snap to Kate. That alone causes Kate to trail off, though Scorpion herself doesn't reply for several moments, letting the silence hang as she examines my fellow henchman.
Kill her? Why does it matter? It's no concern of yours.
Scorpion leans a little closer, examining Kate's expression. I get secondhand nerves just from watching. I know from experience how it feels to have Scorpion stare into your soul like that.
You're too soft for this.
No, ma'am. I was just...
That wasn't a question. You are. Look at Stanley.
Scorpion gestures towards me so grandly that I feel self-conscious about my appearance.
He understands what this is. But you haven't grasped it, have you? And here I thought you'd been part of our program for longer than him.
Sorry, ma'am.
Don't apologize. You'll learn eventually, one way or another.
The supervillain holds her gaze on Kate for a moment longer before finally pulling away. As she returns to her own seat, she turns to me, placing one hand delicately on my shoulder.
This is but the first step down a new path for you, Stanley. Keep walking it with me, and we may find something beautiful at the end of it.
Sure. Got it.
She squeezes my shoulder just a bit too hard and smiles just a bit too wolfishly before finally returning to her own seat. I try to hide my nervous exhale as I lean back in my seat. Just the first step, huh? Why do I feel so exhausted by it? I close my eyes and try to let the rattling of the van rock me to sleep. It doesn't work. Some of the other henchmen try to start up some awkward small talk, but that doesn't work either. In the end, all we're left with is an uneasy silence even as we pass the city limits. Finished cleaning my keyboard of all the grime and oil. Thanks for the distraction. You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. A distraction. That silence carries on all the way until our pickup point, and even as we drop the remaining henchmen back at their own rendezvous locations. Before I know it, it's just Madam Scorpion, Kate, and I, all alone as we ride the helicopter back to Lord Bedlam's lair. We're not sure anyone even offered a goodbye. Not that this was a tightly knit group or anything. Even during our brief flashes of cooperation, we weren't really a team. That was the point. We were only united in that we all wanted an extra paycheck. You might say it was more honest that way. There were no self-indulgent speeches about how we're all brothers and sisters, no empty platitudes from a supervisor who calls me buddy or won't even recommend me for a cost of living raise. If you're good enough to get the job done and make it out, you're paid well. If not, you're left in the dust. Scorpion was right. I could make a killing like this. I'm good enough to... Well, until I'm the one left in the dust. How long could I stave that off, I wonder? I watch Kate wipe the blood from her lip with her knuckle. Even just one of these gigs takes its toll on people like her and I, so I'd have to play it smart. And if I did, I look at Madam Scorpion, who has spent most of the ride casually examining the robot skull she pilfered. Her thoughts a mystery. I could never have what she has, no matter what I do. I know that. And yet, she has me wondering, how close could I get? I'll never have her powers, but if I play this henchcan thing right, maybe, just maybe. No. One foot in front of the other, man. You got some extra money in your pocket and curried a little favor with the new boss. That's good enough for now. Or it will be as soon as I can collapse in my bed. And that's the night job!